Welcome back to the channel, guys. It is me, 80 So today, guys, we'll be doing our Europa League predictions for this year's Europa League for the round of 32, aka the knockaround playoffs. So, like I said, if you're new on here, stay to the end of the video to decide whether you should subscribe or not. Before I begin with the games, I want to go over some quick rules. Rule number one is that this is not really rules per se, but this is more like guidelines. Number one is that this is just my opinion. Just because I didn't predict this team to win doesn't necessarily mean I don't like the team. It's just I just don't believe they'll win. Number two is that this is being recorded on February 3rd, 2023. So if any injuries, any suspensions, anything like that happens, I will not be able to predict. Okay, because these games are going to take place on February 16th. So in around 2 weeks' time, these games will take place. So a lot can change upon these 2 weeks, although I don't think a lot will change. Okay? Anyways, without all that being said, let's go ahead and get on to the video. So let's start with the first game, which we have here. It is RB Salzburg versus Roma. Now, for me, this is a very interesting one. I think for me, this is probably one of the most interesting matches there is in the Europa League because of how RB Salzburg are. Because RB Salzburg is a very, very difficult team. They're very, very good at home. They have a great home record. They have some great players like Sesko comes to mind. You know, they have some quality players in that sense. And they're very much a free-flowing attacking team. Roma, on the other hand, has been improving. I think Roma have largely improved ever since the World Cup. And I do think they're starting to show some strides of improvement. And I think with Mourinho, I think he's going to go all in for this Europa League. I think he's going to go all in for this Europa League because he knows that even though top four is doable in Serie A, he wants to get that trophy. And I think this is a trophy that would be insane, right? And so for me personally, I think it's going to be a very interesting one. I'm looking at players like Tammy Abraham, Paulo Dybala, and then obviously their new signing, Solbakken. I want to see how he does. And this is going to be a very difficult game. And I just think that Roma is going to win this aggregate just because the second leg's at home. And I think that's going to be the crucial thing. Because for me, as much as I want to say Salzburg can do this, I don't know if Salzburg can win away in Italy. See, if Salzburg had the second leg at home, I would have given them so much of a chance. I think Salzburg honestly might just progress just because the home leg is second, because they hardly lose at home. But because of the fact the home leg is first for them, I think it's actually going to pay into Roma's hands, and I actually do think Roma's going to benefit from that. So I'm going to go with Roma to advance, guys. I'm going to go with Roma to advance. Next. This one, man. This one. Barcelona versus Manchester United. Now, I'm going to keep this preview short and sweet. I don't want to, because I can make this preview for a very long time. In fact, I probably will do an extended version for this in the coming week, just before the games. Anyways, with all that being said, I'm going to give you guys a condensed preview here. So I'm a Barcelona fan, of course, and I'm loving Barcelona this season. Barcelona this season has been amazing this season in La Liga. We've been cooking this season, and we're likely to win the La Liga title this season. For Manchester United, they've also been really good this season. They've been really, really good this season, and they have been amazing under Eric Ten Hag. And I have to give him massive credit for making a lot of big decisions, like the likes of benching Ronaldo, of course. Benching Maguire as well was a big decision, and of course having the likes of Rashford and Casemiro, who's been in stellar form. Wan-Bissaka, who's revitalized his career. He's been amazing. I've also liked the introduction of Anthony, who's even though he's had a not really great start, he's been improving as things go on. And Martial has been decent, and yeah, I think for me the standout player for United has been Rashford. Rashford's been the standout player. And obviously Lisandro Martinez Veron's been great. Now Lisandro Martinez will miss a first leg, which could be a benefactor for Barcelona here. And I think for Barcelona, man, this is a very tricky game for Xavi Hernandez, because as good as Barcelona has been under Xavi's appointment, Barcelona have been pretty woeful in Europe, guys. Under Xavi's record, we haven't won an away game in Europe. Well, actually, we did away in Pleasant, but the point is that Barcelona haven't been great in the Champions League and even Europa League as well. And I think the difference between the two teams is the manager of golf and quality. I think Eric Ten Hag, for me, is a superior coach to Xavi Hernandez. And you guys know I actually wanted Eric Ten Hag to coach Barcelona. In fact, that was actually my preferred choice at the time. I remember I said that I actually wanted Eric Ten Hag to coach Barcelona over Xavi. It's not that I didn't like Xavi, of course. It's just that I believe Eric Ten Hag would have been a more suitable replacement. And I do believe that what he's doing with United is what he could have been doing at Barcelona, especially what he been could have done with Frankie De Jong. That would have been amazing. Needless to say, though, this is still gonna be a great game to watch, and I think it's gonna be very, very close. I just have to tip it to United though, and the reason why I give United the slight edge and I think they're the favorites is because the second leg's at Old Trafford, and we know Barcelona away from home is a joke. Barcelona away from home is calamity. Calamity is there in the makings. And yes, people are going to tell me, well, Saunders was suspended for the first leg, so Barca could potentially have a huge advantage. Yes, that is possibly true, but I don't believe Barca have them in themselves to destroy United. I think both games will be very close, and I think that's going to be. I think if Barca wants to advance, they have to win the first leg by 3 or 4-0. Even 2-0, I don't think is going to be enough. Because United Old Trafford this season have been a fortress. Old Trafford this season has been a fortress, guy, and I think it's gonna be very, very difficult. So I give United a slight edge, and I think United's gonna win this. Hope I'm wrong. And it's not that I'm trying to jinx Barcelona or whatever. It's just I genuinely believe United are the. I just believe that United will win. Okay. Next is Ajax versus Union Berlin. This is a great matchup. This is another great matchup, guys. And I think this matchup in particular, what's going to really be interesting is to see the goals. I think there's going to be a lot of goals this one, guys. Ajax this season have been great this season. Obviously, I think they've been amazing this season. Um, had a good start in the Champions League. And I look at players like Kudos has been coming up to mind. Kudos has been amazing. Then obviously you have the likes of, you know, um, Timber that's still there. And then obviously, some other players as well. And they obviously did get Rulli as well. For Union Berlin, I like this Union Berlin team. I think this Union Berlin team have been amazing this season to watch. One of the best underdog teams in Europe this season, in my opinion. I really like the scouting and talented the players they got. They got Juranovic, which I actually was going to mention my transfer already, but decided not to mention him. But I'm going to give an honorable mention here. Obviously, you also have Sabachu, Becker as well. Then you have goalkeeper Onoy, who's been great. This Union Berlin team is really good. This Union Berlin team is great. And as of time recording this video, they're second in the Bundesliga. My worry with Ajax is that defensively they're bad. Ajax defensively is not looking great. They don't even have a coach right now. I think they're going to use the interim coach for the rest of the season. And I just worry for Ajax here in this one that despite the second leg being away, I know Ajax is generally better on the road than they are at home, but I really honestly believe Union Berlin's going to do this. I just think Ajax for me are way too disorganized, dismantled at the moment, and I just don't really believe Ajax can do it. I think Union Berlin's going to do it, and yeah, as I said, I think I'm going to go with Union Berlin to win this one. Next up is Shakhtar versus Rennes. This could potentially be one of the closest matchups of the round, and I think it's a very, very difficult one to call because of how both teams are playing. Like both teams are very much attack-based teams. Shakhtar Donetsk, obviously their star player Modric has left to join Chelsea. Of course, they still have some quality players though. Lassina Traore comes to mind, and obviously some other players comes to mind as well. And I just think that for Shakhtar Donetsk, man, I just think that the important thing for them is that they remain calm and collected. Because I think defensively, man, this team is very, very sketchy in my opinion. I don't think this team is defensively that great. They also have Sikon, who's good, Zibukov as well, Trubin as well. And I just think the thing for Rennes is that Rennes is a very good team. They have some quality players. Obviously, the likes of Gori comes to mind. Obviously, you also have Ikambi as well. Rennes is a good team, guys. I think what it's going to come down to for this one is I just think that for me, I'll give Shakhtar the slight edge. Just because of the fact that their attack is very dangerous. And I think their attack is a little bit better than Rennes. And I think Shakhtar will just get the job done. Because even though the second leg is going to be away, I think Shakhtar could hold a sizable advantage going to the second leg. I just think Shakhtar's going to do this. I think Rennes might be more focused on League One, trying to get their European spot in order. And yeah, I'm going to give Shakhtar the slight edge, although this one can go either way. This one can definitely go either way. Okay, next one we had is Sevilla versus PSV. This is an interesting one, guys. And I know Sevilla have been bad this season. Obviously, they have been really, really underwhelming this season, with the likes, Jules Koundé leaving this summer, Diogo Carlos. But Sevilla is still Europa League royalty. They're still a team that you cannot write off upon in the Europa League. And this is a team that owns the Europa League. This is the team that craves this competition the most. And that they might be going in all in like this, like sort of like what Frankfurt did last season, As for PSV, they have been amazing this season, although they have sold a numerous amount of players. They've also sold Madueke, they've also sold Cody Gakpo, and I believe they sold, who else they sold? I think that's it. They did bring in Thorgan Hazard, though, so That could potentially be a good thing for them. And they still have the likes of Luke De Jong, who's still there. Bakayoko is there. And obviously, they also have Javi Simmons, of course. But I just think for me, selling Gakpo and selling Madueke was really big mistakes. And I think their attack's going to really struggle. And they also have Sangare, who's good. And I'm actually going to go with Sevilla, though. Even though they haven't been great themselves this season, I do feel as though Sevilla are going to come into the Europa League alive. And I just have a feeling Sevilla will upset PSV. So, yeah, I have a feeling Sevilla will do it, guys. I have a feeling Sevilla will do it. Next up, it is Sporting versus Midtyland. This is a tricky one to call. Because what Midtyland did to get to the stage has been incredible. The fact that Midtyland actually finished second in the group ahead of Lazio is very commendable, you know? And this is a team that's been a very wild card this season. And, you know, I don't even think many of us even expected them to even reach the stage. And for the fact they were able to do so is incredible. Because I'm looking at the likes of players that they haven't been doing so good in the Super League. And so they might go all in for this Europa League. You know, you have the likes of Emiliano Martinez, Iskasan, Paulinho, Sisto, Salamani, Olsen, Aswar. You know, these are some quality players, man. And for Sporting in particular, man, they're also a very good team. Their attack is insane, guys. They can score goals. It's just the defense for me is what's my big concern with Sporting. You know, I'm looking at the likes of Horeta, who's been great, Trincao, Paulinho, Arthur, Pedro Gonçalves. This team is a very, very well organized team attacking wise. It's just the defense, man. Especially them bringing Bellerin and losing Porro to Spurs, I think will definitely hurt them because let's face it, guys, Bellerin and Porro is clear. Bellerin, all right? Get Bellerin's not even that great. You know, as a Barca fan, I'm glad he left us. You know, and I just think for me, what's going to come down to is between the attacks. And I just think that Sporting will just get the job done. I think Sporting, what's going to happen is I think they're going to win the first leg by a good margin, and I think the second leg will just be a draw, and that will be enough for them. But the thing is, if Midtjylland can get a draw on the road, or even win on the road, they put themselves in a great position, and I actually would probably back them to advance. It just all depends on first leg away in Portugal, of course. And, you know, Portugal, the Sporting team having to play away in Denmark. So it's going to be a very, very interesting to see what happens, but I'm going to back Sporting to advance. Okay. Oh, sorry, I went a bit too forward. Next one is Juventus versus Nantes. This is a big one. Juventus, man. Believe it or not, guys, I actually predicted Juventus to win this Europa League. Now, this was before they got the 15 points deduction thing. And now, I think it could actually be a realistic possibility because had those 15 points not been deducted, I think Juventus probably wouldn't even care about the Europa League. But because of the fact that they're not going to get Champions League from Serie A right now with the point deductions, they're going to have to go all in for this Europa League. And this is a very doable team against Nantes. Now, Nantes is a very good team. They have some quality players. Obviously, Lafont comes to mind. He's the most notable player, of course, on this team. And, of course, Nantes did, you know, surprise odds and actually did make it to the round of 32. And they haven't been doing themselves great in the league. So what they might do is go all in for this Europa League as well. You know, like the likes of Mustafa Mohamed, Fabian Cortez, Moso Sissoko, and Andy Delort, Moses Simon as well. So I'm just looking at this Nantes team and that Juventus have to win this. Juventus have to win this because with the likes of players they have like Chiesa, you know, then they have Pogba, although I did hear Juventus might terminate Pogba's contract, which, man, that's a tricky situation. But anyways, Chesney is there, Bremer is there, and I do think Juventus have been improving defensively speaking. I do think Juventus have improved defensively. And like I said, I don't think Juventus even care about Serie A at this point anymore. So that's why I think they're going to go all in for this Europa League. And I wouldn't rule out Juventus, guys. I wouldn't completely rule them out to not win this. So I do think Juventus will beat Nantes. Okay? And now, the final one. This is the one I'm really most excited for. This is the one I'm really, really excited for the most. Bayer Leverkusen versus Monaco. Guys, I'm going to say this right now. I think this will be the highest scoring matchup in the round of 32. This is a tricky one to call because Bayer Leverkusen this season have been very underwhelming. I've been really, really unimpressed with Bayer Leverkusen. Their terrible start to the season really costed them, and they haven't been great. You know, they're struggling right now. They're mid-table right now, and right now I think what they're trying to do is just to try to get a mid-table finish. And they might be doing what Frankfurt did, as I mentioned earlier, with Sevilla and Juventus potentially, is that they might go all in for this Europa League. Monaco, on the other hand, have also been great this season. You know, I'm looking at players like Ben Yedder, who's been coming into mind. And obviously you got Myron Boadu, who's been great. You know, and for Bayer Leverkusen, obviously Patrick Schick's the main guy. Then you've got Redzeki. The thing about this Leverkusen team, though, is that defensively they're very, very vulnerable, very suspect, defensively not very good. Whereas Monaco, on the other hand, are very pragmatic, and they tend to show up in big games, you know. And that's the thing with this one is that it's so difficult to call because both teams have been kind of underwhelming this season. I've ended up going with Monaco to prevail, and the reason why I went with Monaco is I just don't believe Leverkusen can win the game in France. And I think I'm more likely to back Monaco to win there than Leverkusen. But at the same time, it's tricky because this could be 50-50. This is a 50-50, guys. It could go either way. But I just feel like Monaco, for me, I think the home advantage for them in the second leg will be massive. And I just feel that will be just enough to tip it to them. But who knows, man? Leverkusen could definitely do it. I wouldn't be surprised. Okay? So this is my Europa League quarterfinal round of 16 teams that I believe will make it. So let me reiterate here. So I have Roma, got Manchester United, got Union Berlin, got Shakhtar Donetsk. Um, then obviously I also have Sevilla, the Sporting, and the Juventus and Monaco. So I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you guys agree with my predictions? Do you guys disagree? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Guys, if you made it this far, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. It really does mean a lot. Make sure you guys check out my blogs in the description below. And I'll see you guys later. Peace out.